Hey class, I've been having a little technical difficulty, but maybe I can get this done now. Let's see what happens. So anyway, we're going to insert a procedure, and the name of this procedure is line underscore chart. We say OK to this, and then we'll copy the statistics macro information into the line chart macro. So we highlight the statistics macro, Control C to copy, put the cursor between the two blue words for line chart, Control V to paste. Then we're going to replace the word statistics inside of this second macro. So we say edit, replace, and then we say replace what? Statistics. And we replace that with line space chart, no underscore on this one. And now must make this special arrangement here. See, it says current procedure. Click current procedure. This is the most important step right here. All right, and then everything else should be okay. And let me just say again, you have to click current procedure, replace all. Great. Now you can leave this replace thing up there and you can say insert procedure. And the name of this procedure is going to be stock chart, stock underscore chart. And we say OK to this. And then we replace line chart in the replace window with stock chart. And we say replace all. Oh, I'm sorry, class. You have to put your cursor between the two blue reserved words and press Control V to copy the text in, and then the replace all is going to work. Great, okay. So now we're going to do insert procedure, and the name of this one is going to be stock history, stock underscore history. Okay, Control V. And then we're going to change the name of it in the replace thing with from stock chart to stock history. Replace all. Insert procedure. The name of this one is report control. Okay. Control V. And we put the report space control. All right, class. All right, now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Visual Basic. So let's just go over to the PowerPoint. So Visual Basic is an object-oriented programming language. And what this means is that each thing in Visual Basic is an encapsulated object. So a single cell or a range of cells is an object, but the entire Excel application is also an object. So these smaller objects fit inside of the larger objects. That's the way it goes. So we group these objects into collection objects. And here's the syntax for that and some examples of some collection objects. If we had 3 charts, then that could be an object. Now this is just the hierarchical chart of the Excel object model, and you'll see that the application itself is at the top, and the application can have workbooks in it or add-ins like Power Map in it. And then a workbook can have objects such as a chart or a worksheet or a VBA project. And then a worksheet can have a range or a pivot table or a chart inside of it. If you wanted to refer to the cell A1 that's in the report sheet, and you were at the very top level of the application, you would have to use this long line right here to do so. However, if you were sitting in the statistics worksheet, then you could refer to a cell in the report worksheet in this manner. So these are the names, the object names of different things that will make your life a little simpler. In other words, if you're a little further down in the application, you don't have to use the long description in order to refer to a single cell. So we modify an object by changing a property of that object. And if you want to do that, we can say here, for instance, that we could change the title of a chart. And we just changed the property of sheet 2 a little earlier. So we did some of that today already. The easiest one for you to understand here in terms of code is the active cell with a value of 23 is changed to 23. I'm sorry, it had another value a minute ago, and this code on the left, on the top line, changes the value of that cell to 23. A method is an action that can be performed on an object, such as closing a workbook or printing the contents of a worksheet. So if you wanted to save the workbook, this would be a method. But some methods need to have a parameter in order for them to go through. And we're going to use this particular command, the third one here, sheets move after sheets 3. All right, we're going to use that method in just a second. But we can see that there's other things. For instance, I think the save method is here as well. Yeah. Active workbook, save as, and when you need a name to save it as, and you always do, then that name is a parameter. All right, so let's apply some parameters, and we're going to do this one down here. Sheet statistics. We're going to do this one down here. Sheet statistics move before sheet line chart. I'm just going to copy this from here. All right, so now in order to do this, we want to make sure that statistics is after line chart. And I see that it's in front of line chart. So let me just intentionally drag it so that it's to the left of line chart. You see the order of them right now? All right, so then we go back to the code window. And we're going to use something called, we can cancel this now. We're going to use something called the immediate window. And what the immediate window lets you do is to use some code immediately. Now, in order to bring up the immediate window, you go to View, and you click here on Immediate Window. And then you'll see it down here at the bottom. I'm just going to put that code that I had in there. So I'm saying sheet statistics will be moved before sheets line chart. Now, in order to run this code, you just press Enter. You can also press F5, but you don't need to, I don't think. Let's just see whether you need to press F5. So we go to the Excel page, and oh, look at that. Statistics is in front of line chart. So I couldn't remember, but you don't need to run it. You just press enter, and the immediate window code is run. Great. All right, back to the PowerPoint. And now, so class, what we're going to do today is we're going to change our Excel application to reflect different time periods. And when we do that, the charts that are corresponding to each time period will change as well. So if we're here on the report control sheet like this, we see that we can have different time frames. If you click on the C5, which is where the little spinny box is, you can pick a different time frame: week, month, quarter, year. Okay. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to be able to change the charts, and that's the line chart here, which is set up for year, and the stock chart here, which is set up for year, so that they correspond to the time frame that we're interested in looking at. Okay, so the stock history has defined ranges corresponding to different defined names. And I'll just let us look at that for a minute. You see that year dates is equal to the entire column in stock history that corresponds to dates. So here's the stock history tab. And if you click here, up here in the cell address button, you'll see that we have year dates, but let's work with week dates. So if I click on week dates, then I see that only 5 dates are selected. If I pick year dates, then we see that all 296 of them are selected. I'm sorry, it's 255. So it's 365 days of the year. 52 weeks times 5, 52 weeks times 5 days each week comes to the 255 that we see there, I guess. And so that's how many possible year dates there are. All right, so these defined ranges correspond to these words: year dates or week dates. Now, we have this other thing called stock dates: stock open, stock high, and these are used to substitute for, they're made equivalent to year dates, and they are used to set up our charts, the 2 charts that I mentioned to you a minute ago. So right now, stock dates is equal to year dates, but we can change it so that it's equal to week dates. And when it's equal to week dates, then the charts are going to change to correspond to a week's worth of data. Okay, so the range stock dates right now is the whole thing, but in a minute we're going to change it so that stock dates is only equal to the 5 week dates that are in the week date range. So to do this, we would just take the name stock date and we would make it equivalent to week date. So I already showed you that spinny button in C5 can be modified. And to do that, we would just take this code right here, Sheets Report Control,